Okay, so I'm gonna react to this video again. This is the a bassless yell baking drama kind of video. I just feel like I approached it in a particular way the last time, and I kind of want to approach it in a different way here. It's a very long video. Um, Unless you're really into the whole of bassless yell shit, you're not going to enjoy this. So click off now. Don't waste precious minutes and hours of your life on it. But I just feel like I kind of want to revisit this video again because I missed a lot out, and I perhaps had like a particular point to try to make, which I think I did make in my last video. And I just think like maybe I can, on this one, I can just kind of have like, I want to have fresh eyes on it, and enjoy it in a different way. So let's see how it goes.
What you're trying to convey. This is not the first video I have made reflecting on my experience at Northwest Culinary Academy. There is the letterhead. In case you didn't notice, I'm wearing the uniform. Both of these things
I know I said this in the last video, but he does look good in the uniform.
Directly prove that I was indeed a student at the institution. However, the first video we made together on my main channel was really discussing from a personal perspective.
I think as well, like, I really, in my last video, I didn't address the Mussolini-like looks that he has it in this video. He's got this kind of Mussolini vibe, which I guess this is why he's so successful with women and stuff, you know. He's got this Mussolini kind of thing going on.
Why we chose to drop out of the program. In this video, I'm going to attempt to give more of a broad-ranging review of why you should or should not enroll in Northwest Culinary Academy of Vancouver. Now,
should or should not? Okay, spoiler alert, I watched this whole thing. He doesn't really say why you should. He just says why you shouldn't.
Sometimes a symbol is an abstract representation of something other than itself. And sometimes a symbol in itself embodies what you're trying to convey.
Now, this is the kind of shit I love at Bassocio for. Like, it sounds deep on the surface. If you think about it for a while, it's just fucking ridiculous. But sorry.
On the list here of what you're expected to pay to get into this institution, I think you guys can read that. If you can't, there you go. That's focused pretty well. The total bill here in Canadian dollars, $12,900.
Right, and this is the whole point. Like, anyone that's trying to get a vocational skill won't spend that much money unless they're going to make a lot of money. Like, okay, say you're going to become a fucking hardcore, the guys that build fucking electrical transformers or something, right? Maybe you're going to spend 12,000 learning it because you're going to get paid loads of fucking money when you can do it, or like oil workers and shit. That's when you're going to put 12K down. You're not going to put 12K down to learn how to bake a fucking cake. I mean, because you don't get paid that much in the job. Like, what the fuck?
And $23. And on that list is a toolkit for $925.
$995, right?
No, $925.
Oh,
We're using the precise prices. 900.
Good on you to correct your girlfriend on that like $5 difference or whatever.
25 for the toolkit, and that does not include this uniform. How many uniforms did we get? The uniforms were an additional $448.
Yeah, so it was one long
Right.
sleeve, two short sleeve.
Yeah.
And then I think 2 pairs of pants and a couple aprons.
Right. So one long.
See what I say about the Mussolini shit? Let's go watch that again. Hang on. Let's just go back. Just do it back here.
But it also
No,
in
watch
itself
this
embodies and really
chest pump.
is
That's
what's wrong with the
fucking
program.
Mussolini shit, man.
When we first got
This
this
is why the
set
chicks
of
love
knives and spatulas, and you get a pair of scissors,
Hang on,
and so
coming,
we could
it's
get them all right now. We could show you on camera what you get with this
Maybe I
toolkit. We
went
still
back
have
too
all the
far.
stuff. We thought there is absolutely no way this adds up to a value
Oh
of
shit, maybe we didn't go back far enough.
I
Hang
do
on.
not know. I mean, I do not know if you can just. And that does not include this uniform. Did we get, how
Here we
many
go.
uniforms did we
Check
get? The
this, man.
uniforms
Check
were an additional $448.
Yeah, so it was one long
Right.
sleeve, 2 short sleeve.
Yeah.
And then
Look at
I think
this.
2 pairs of pants and a
Fuck
couple
it, that's a
aprons.
man.
Right. So one long sleeve shirt, you know, the upper uniform like this, and then several, right. Yeah. I think you got it bang on from memory.
Body language experts will recognize that as just fucking alpha shit, man.
$448 for the uniform, but then the so-called toolkit, 925 Canadian. Now, again, this is partly just a symbol representing what's wrong with the program,
Well, you
but it
stupid-
also in itself
you
embodies and
stupid
really
cunt for
is
paying
what's
that
wrong with the
money,
program.
for fuck's
When we
sake.
first got this set of knives and spatulas, and you get a pair of scissors, and so we could get them all right now. We could show you on camera what you get with this toolkit. We still
the
have
only
all the
people
stuff.
that are going to do this is
We thought
people that
there is absolutely no way
fucking
this
parents are
adds
paying
up
for it.
to a value
You're not going
of
to spend your own money.
$925.
this
I
much
do not know.
money
I mean,
on
I do not know
course
if you
like
can
this, where they're
justify
gonna
this snappy
charge you
uniform
900
costing you $425.
whatever he's saying for fucking
Standing up, well, sitting down, it's kind of made for a fat man. No offense, but anyway, it's not really flattering to my physique. But anyway, it makes my shoulders look.
I'm sorry, I disagree. I think he spent like $13,000 for him. If you add his girlfriend, 26. The best thing he got is this shirt, and it's actually very flattering on his physique. On his physique, he looks fucking really good in it. No homo.
Enormous, but hey, but my shoulders are enormous. It's not the point. Look, this toolkit for $925. Melissa, my girlfriend, actually took the time to go on Amazon and add up exactly how much it cost them.
The exact items.
And we know they got it from Amazon. Every single item is available on Amazon. And you know, look, this is, again, it's a symbol, but it also really is the problem. On that first day in class, they hand you this set of knives. And you think, oh, wow, these are good-looking knives. Knives have already rusted. And we don't put them to the...
But wouldn't you fucking do your homework before you're going to spend $12,000 on a supposedly vocational qualification? Wouldn't you do your homework first, find out about it? How do you even have fucking 12K in the first place to go and be a chef? Like I've had friends, a family that have gone into the culinary arts, and it's they're not gonna got in with much money, and it's taken them a long time to make any money. You know, if you're gonna go and do a fucking course, go and get a course on fucking the shit that gets you on fucking oil rigs, you know? Like, then you'll make some money, and it'll be cheaper than this shit, actually. A little bit cheaper, and you'll make fucking great money.
Test. They've only been hand washed. They've never been machine washed here at our home. We've very, very light use of these knives. They've already rusted, and we looked them up on Amazon. And depending on the knife, maybe 30 Canadian dollars. The small one, maybe 15 or 12, maybe 40.
Yeah, you're looking it up now. Why didn't you look it up before you did it? And the only reason I can think is because that $30,000 and $14,000 didn't mean a lot to you. If it meant a lot to you, you'd be careful where you throw that money, and you'll throw it only in ways that you think you're gonna get It's like if you're going to invest in anything, so this is investing in yourself, you're going to try to invest to get the best return. You're not going to go and pay fucking 30 and 14K and like get ripped off unless you're
42 for the Lord. But you know, they're not expensive knives. They're not high-end knives. They're not knives that in any way justify the $925 total price, nor do any of the other components. Melissa, the grand total you came up with, correct me if I'm wrong, was just over $500, right?
Oh, okay. I thought it was a little bit underneath it, but
Okay.
I would have to check. I sent
Okay.
you an email.
Okay.
with everything.
Look, let's be generous and say it was $500. When you sent me the grand total, I was surprised it was that much. Because I said, well, look, if you shop around, maybe you can get a better price. Because it's just plastic crap. I mean, I'm sorry. You get a couple of offset spatulas, plastic handle, metal spatula, perfectly good pair of scissors, don't get me wrong, but it's just an ordinary plastic handle pair of scissors. You're looking at this thinking, how could anyone in their right minds imagine this is worth $925? Whether you shop around and...
It's because the people that would join the course wouldn't care about the money. If they cared about it, maybe they'd do a bit of homework.
find those components for $500 or $400, whatever you find. It's up to you.
I'm a lyrical comedian, written in the laughter, speeding rhyme so fast I'll leave you in a disaster.
It's up to you. But the whole program, when you're looking at a grand total price of $12,923, this is also very much the problem. Now, I'm not a mousy cat. I don't keep these things to myself.
Like, I'll be honest, okay? Like in the industries I've worked in, there is some scammy kind of training things, you know, to try to take advantage of people that haven't done the homework and have a lot of money. But really, like, if you're really interested in a particular industry, like I was, I did my fucking research. Even my parents were pissed off about the way I did it because I didn't go through, let's say, the schools or the academies or whatever. I went kind of the back way because I'd done my fucking research because it's something I really wanted to do in my life. And it was way cheaper. And actually, it was the only way I could do it. And it worked out like way, way cheaper. And actually, you get ahead a little bit quicker too. Just what I'm talking about is actually going and not quite an apprenticeship, but just going and doing the fucking work, studying in your spare time. Do the work, study in your spare time kind of shit.
I discussed that directly with the head of the school. On the day I quit, he sat down and talked to me for, felt like a long time, felt like more than hours.
And like, you know, like, I was going to say, like, experience is something, I'm not even talking about employers here or something, but like, for a job, experience is almost worth more than the education. Like, if you can be experienced in a job and study, that's great. But even just experience is better than just study. I think maybe the best way is work in the job and study. But just go study. When you go and get the job, you kind of shit. Really, that's just kind of how it is.
Sorry, I forget how long it was. We had a long conversation. And all the problems and questions came out. And I said...
But, as I've said before, I don't think this guy's ever had a job. Actually. I really don't think he's actually had a job.
To him, how can you... Okay, I didn't say how can you justify. I think that came a little bit later. I think I initially posted to him as I said, look, you are charging over $12,000 for a diploma that will only qualify me to do work that pays $12 an hour.
So why the fuck would you pay $13,000 for that course? I don't get it. Like, why would you pay $13,000 for a course that only makes you make whatever minimum wages or 12? He said like $12 an hour. Why would you spend that much money if you're not gonna get anything back on the investment?
And your competition just up the street and just down the road, $3,000, $5,000.
Like, if your dream is to have a fucking bakery and you've got enough money, open a fucking bakery, employ people that have done the training. You know what I mean? Or even watch a fucking YouTube video. If I'm gonna open a bakery and I haven't got much money, I'll just watch some YouTube videos and open a fucking bakery. Or actually, what I would do, I'd go and work in a bakery for a year. I'd fucking at least get some idea about how the business works. If I had like $1 million, then I'd open a bakery, and then I'd employ people that know what the fuck they're doing. Like, his approach, his vegan bakery dream is just insane, man.
There's a range of prices out there. But when you look at like cheap, low-end community college courses in baking or in cuisine, they get close to zero, the total price. And if you sign up for kind of government benefits and handouts, if you declare yourself a poor student who needs the help or what have you, then, you know, the price gets closer and closer to zero. So what are you...
Does he not realize that like working in catering and hospitality doesn't pay well? It just doesn't. I've done it. It doesn't pay well. The only people that get paid well is like the head chefs in a fucking amazing hotel or restaurant where it's like the reason that people are going there is because the head chef fucking runs a kitchen awesome and he makes awesome food. These are rare people. That's why they earn a lot of money, and they're all fucked in the head. They all have drug problems, pretty much every single one of them, apart from one I've met. And their talent is off the fucking charts. You can make money, like if you've got your own cafe, like you could have your own vegan cafe, you could have any cafe. But then it's going to be about how good are you about running a business. Like, that's what's going to really matter. Not going to baking school. You're not going to learn fuck all in baking school about running a business.
paying for at Northwest? Now, my girlfriend can jump in anytime, but I'm just going to quote you. I'm just going to quote something my girlfriend said to me one day. We came home after the class and we made banana bread. And in approximately these words, she said to me, you know, this isn't remotely the best banana bread I've ever had. This isn't even the best banana bread we've had this year. You know?
Hang on. Is that the banana bread they made? Let's just rewind. Hang on. About here, banana bread? Yeah.
Benefits and handouts. If you declare yourself a poor student who needs the help or what have you, then, you know, the price gets closer and closer to zero. So what are you paying for at Northwest? Now, my girlfriend can jump in anytime, but I'm just going to quote you. I'm just going to quote something my girlfriend.
She can jump in any time, but like let her be careful not to contradict you.
Friend said to me one day, we came home after the class and we made banana bread. And in approximately these words, she said to me, you know, this isn't remotely the best.
Okay, so this is like their first day in fucking baking school, and they're like, this banana bread isn't great. Like, they've been to, like, cafes where, like, or whatever, baking places where someone's probably been, like, honing their fucking skills for years to make a decent banana bread. And they're expecting, like, it just fucking boggles my mind. They're expecting their first day in some fucking college, whatever this shit is, that their banana bread's gonna be anywhere near as good as someone that's got that good at making baking and banana bread, where they've got their own business and like they know that they have to provide good quality shit for their customers. They're like, oh, our banana bread was shit. Of course it fucking was shit.
Best banana bread I've ever had. This isn't even the best banana bread we've had this year. You know, how would it be possible to justify this super, super high price tag for this program? Again, given...
There is no justification for that super high price tag for that course. I do agree. The seal has a point.
It's not qualifying you to perform surgery at a hospital. It's qualifying you for a minimum wage job and lower than minimum wage job. A lot of people are paid below minimum wage in this line of work, where most of the people in the field, many of the people have dropped out of high school. Many people have no formal education, just on-the-job training. And I've been on Indeed.ca. I've been...
Excuse me, but like if you're gonna be a good baker, why do you even need to have a formal education? You just need to know how to fucking bake, and wouldn't you learn that the best on the job? It's got this it's got this idea that like education, like academia, is everything, and it might be for some things, but like it's when it comes to baking a cake, or a chef, or anything where you're dealing with the public, you have to learn on the job.
On the websites that have job listings, many of the jobs say they're willing to hire people. They're willing to hire immigrants who've dropped out of high school. They're willing to hire, they explicitly say they're willing to hire people with no prior experience, no job training, that at the bakery or at the bread factory.
Yeah, like I've had a little bit of history in my life of training people. Do you know some of the best people to train is people with no experience, no education, and no, what's the word? I think in order to teach, right, to teach well and effectively, it's a two-way street. The teacher needs to be good, but also the student needs to be open to learning. And it's almost like he's talking about like this course is advertising for people with like what I call a blank canvas. They don't know anything. These people who don't know anything, in a way, if they've got the right attitude, can be the best people to teach. They can learn the most, you know. But yeah, this is different. It's like a scam. His course is a scam.
They'll teach you everything you need to know over a couple of months of probation, that if you're just hardworking and physically tough, you can do this job. So what would justify such an extraordinary price tag? A price tag that's extraordinary even compared to, say, cordon bleu courses and this sort of thing. And it's for quite a short period of time, too. I mean, the number of months.
15 weeks.
15-week course. $12,000 for 15 weeks of education in Canada. And again, prices are lower in Canada than they are in the United States. But I know I've talked to some people who went to community college, cheap local community college programs in baking in the United States. There definitely are cheap options open to you if you ask the United States. What could justify it? Well, it would start, if you weren't ripping me off over the knives I had to buy from your program, it would start if you were honest businessmen about these kinds of things. But sure, it would help if on Banana Bread Day, if you said, wow, these people really know banana bread. If you said, wow, these people really know their stuff about banana bread. But they don't.
Yeah, but hang on. Wasn't the banana bread, you made it? So like, they taught you how to make it. It's like the first time you make something, it's going to be shit, right?
It's not impressive. It's not like going to the cordon bleu. We were preparing for this. We were at an extremely high level of commitment to this program. So we'd spent a lot of time going to bakeries around Canada, the United States, especially Seattle and Los Angeles, leading up to this program, looking at the best of what's going on in Seattle, Los Angeles, but also Paris, France, and the Côte d'Azur in France. So we've been seeing what's...
Yeah, so like the best way to become a good baker is to go to high-end places and develop your taste for great food. It's like, okay, like I like wine, right? I've learned how to. I like wine anyway, but I got to the point where I like good wine, and I learned a little bit about tasting wine. Does that mean I can fucking make wine? Like,
going on in baking on the leading edge. It ain't this. It ain't what they're teaching you at Northwestern Culinary Academy in Vancouver. So,
you know, I'm thinking like maybe my channel will just be like, from now on, just reacting to this video like once a week for the next like 100 videos, because it's just, there's so much in this fucking video to react to.
no, you're not getting an elite or impressive education. For me, the ultimate question is of how the hours of the day are spent in the classroom. And again, I talked to the boss. I talked to the boss in charge of the whole school, so I know this is true of...
Okay, like so what I do or have done in my life, there is some study. Basically, after the study, you learn on the job. And what you really learn, if you're going to get good, you learn off like great people in the industry. You have to work for the best people, and you learn from them. You don't just go to a fucking school and now you know how to do it. Like you'll go to school just enough to get in, and then you learn on the job. And then if you're gonna really want to be good, you got to go and work for the best guys and try to absorb their wisdom, you know? I mean, this guy, I'm sorry, but he would not be able to absorb any wisdom.
Both the savory program and the baking program. It's not just the baking program. The whole school is set up this way. And I talked to the head of our department, which is baking. There are only 2 departments. Their attitude is that you get bossed around and bullied and your time wasted and you wash a lot of dishes in the industry. So therefore, it's okay for you to get bossed around and bullied and for them to waste your time.
I think I covered some of this shit in the last video, so let's just go forward a little bit. Let's go to about here. What the fuck? Fucking hate videos. I've got some YouTube out of control.
Right? Well, this is another huge show.
Yeah.
This bridges. There's a segue here. Let me just finish with this.
Maybe
with
I
this
went too
point,
far.
though.
Let's go back a little bit. Let's go to here.
You're telling me this doesn't matter and what a waste of time would be for you to do. And again, they didn't have a first aid kit set up. They were lacking the bare minimum things that even a McDonald's would have. A McDonald's restaurant would have if you were being employed at McDonald's. I think.
Have you ever fucking worked in McDonald's? I fucking highly doubt it.
McDonald's would give you some pretty solid health and safety training. Also, shout out to McDonald's corporate headquarters. I think they're pretty serious about that stuff because they know they're liable, and these guys don't have a sense of responsibility or a sense of being liable.
Yeah. The time management of
Yes.
the class is something that,
I kind of need.
Right.
you know, you mentioned the
for that phrase. Let's just go back a little bit more. I don't want to take the seal out of context.
Dishes when you are paying these elite levels, right, of tuition. But that was their attitude, and I mean that the attitude of, well, in the industry you're going to be treated even worse, so therefore we could treat you like
And
this
you
in
will
school.
be treated
That also extended
worse.
to their attitude towards health and safety, which was shocking to me, and that was a major source of conflict and one of the reasons why I dropped out. And the head of the school said dismissively and contemptuously, he said, "Oh, you wouldn't believe how the other schools waste your time. They spend the whole first week just teaching you safety procedures and protocols." And,
Yep.
you know, it's like, well, I've just been in the classroom with a bunch of people who have no experience and no training, carrying around huge knives and burning hot pans and people getting injured and in a really crowded, hectic...
Yeah, well, it's not like I've worked a little bit in kitchens, and you don't get fucking almost any training, and you do get burned.
space. I don't think those other colleges are misplaced in giving you a week of health and safety training and protocols and procedures. I don't.
I agree. That's actually good. Like, if you're going to put someone out into any job, pretty much health and safety, it's a pain in the ass, it's bullshit, everything like that, but it does save people from injury and lets them have a longer career and stuff. I agree with what he's saying here a little bit.
Like, it was just ridiculous to me. I said, I'm sorry, I can't believe you're this arrogant about it. And you're telling me this when I'm injured. At that moment, I was injured and had an ice pack on. And you're telling me this doesn't matter and what a waste of time would be for you to do. And again, they didn't have a first aid kit set up. They were lacking the bare minimum things that even a McDonald's would have, a McDonald's restaurant would have if you were being employed at McDonald's. I think McDonald's would give you some pretty solid health and safety training also. Shout out to McDonald's corporate headquarters. I think they're pretty serious about that stuff.
No, well, I've worked in fast food when I was younger. There's pretty much fuck all training. You learn on the job, and you get burnt.
Because they know they're liable. And these guys don't have a sense of responsibility or a sense of being liable.
Yeah. The time management of the class is something that,
right.
You know, you mentioned the dishes, but it may sound like complaining, but we only had 30 minutes to get lunch, and we weren't supposed to take off our uniforms.
That's right.
We were just supposed to stay in there and eat, and we weren't even allowed to use the kitchen. We weren't allowed to use any burners or anything, so if we wanted to make food, we really couldn't. And
your days are awful, and they just bully you further by telling you that you should stay late every time, and you should be even.
And this is why you should never work in this fucking industry, because it's fucking shit.
More enthusiastic about cleaning every day, and that you're going to be graded on this.
Yeah.
Your ability to feed yourself, your ability to sleep at night, your ability to live a life during the course is really ground down. But again, I think the fundamental evil there is that your time isn't being spent. Your time is being wasted.
Right.
You know?
I think you mentioned that, you know, the class was from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., right?
Right.
Or 4:30 or something.
Yep.
So if during that time you were even repeating just the same thing, you know, like the same tart.
If I'm going to pay fucking $14,000 for a 15-week course, I don't want to be washing dishes. I don't want to be doing any of that shit. I'm going to be treating that as like I'm a rich guy and I'm learning to bake cakes or whatever, you know. It seems like they've kind of, in this course, has kind of tried to make it vocational. But I still don't get why is it so expensive if it's actually a vocational course. And also, why did these guys go into that? They wanted to go into because they wanted to become vegan bakers. So for them, they wanted the vocational side of it, and the vocational side of it would be the beasting and the fucking absolute shit that is the industry.
Getting it right.
Yes.
That would be more beneficial than
infinitely
showing us how to make one tiny tart.
Right.
And then moving on to something else.
That's right.
You know, if we actually mastered one skill.
That's right.
Rather than trying to.
The only skill you're going to master is washing dishes in this course. That's really sad. But, yeah, you're right. The setup they have is, it's like a cooking TV show, which is not what you get a demo, you stand around and watch the teacher do it once.
Some of the people watching this will be like me, where they've, in their vocation, they've had to train other people. And when you train people for a while, not even that long, you can kind of see who's going to waste your fucking time and who isn't. Like, who really wants to get where you are by just listening, and who's just going to cause shit. And those people will know what this guy is, man.
And then you do it once. And again, their idea of education is to rush you and yell at you and inform you that if you were in the industry, you'd be doing it even faster. Well, this isn't the industry. You're not paying me, and this isn't an assembly line in a factory, right? Well, this is another huge issue.
Yeah.
This bridge is, there's a segue here. Let me just finish with this point though.
You know, instead of spending like $14,000, go and volunteer almost for free in a fucking bakery. Get beasts to have to fucking do 10-hour shifts. You're gonna learn more than paying $14,000 over 15 weeks, and you know, maybe they'll even pay you.
Yeah.
If the point is for me to actually learn how to make this pie or make this banana bread, maybe I should do it once slowly and then do it 5 times or 10 times quickly. I'm not against that. But no, in this case, it's do it once really fast, having no idea what, and then spend all your time doing dishes. Their organization of the space, of the procedure, and so on, it's a total disaster. But right, we have a segue here to talking about the fact that what they're teaching you is a bourgeois housewife baking. I'd even go so far as say aristocrat housewife baking. Total disregard for the basic, questions of budget, efficiency.
I mean, I agree. I think he's right in everything he's saying here, except that he chose to pay, at least for himself, $13,000, and I'm guessing his girlfriend doesn't have much money, so he paid for both of them for this course that was bullshit. I agree, it's probably bullshit, the course, but he paid it. Why didn't you do any research? I'm going to spend that much money. I want to make sure it's a fucking good course that's going to hopefully give some return on my investment.
See profitability. There were a couple sentences. We read all the fine print before we signed up. We thought we were going to learn about the economics of running a successful bakery, and you really don't get that. On the contrary,
go to business school if you want to do that shit, or just run a business. I think running a business will teach you more about running a baking business, and learning to run a business will teach you, in my opinion, more about how to run a bakery than being a baker or learning how to bake.
We feel they're providing you with a better quality of education by giving you extravagantly expensive and highly perishable and impracticable ingredients that nobody uses.
Did you see that word they said impracticable? Let's look again. Hang on. Rewind.
What they're teaching you is a bourgeois housewife baking. I'd even go so far as say aristocrat housewife baking. Total disregard for the basic, questions of budget, efficiency, profitability. There were a couple sentences. We read all the fine print before we signed up. We thought we were going to learn about the economics of running a successful bakery, and you really don't get that. On the contrary, they feel they're providing you with a better quality of education by giving you extravagantly expensive and highly perishable and impracticable ingredients.
Impracticable. So impracticable, that comes from the vegan definition of veganism. That's the word, impracticable. It's in his head.
That nobody uses in the real. Oh, we're going to use this dried fruit. We're going to use this handmade candied ingredient or something.
You might have not been there, but on the last day when we were supposed to be trying our scones, they brought out homemade jams that they had made that were like artisanal. And
I'm just thinking, like, when I've had to teach people shit, right? If these two cunts turned up, I'm not even joking, after about a day, I'd just tell them to fuck off. Here's all your fucking course money back. Just fuck off. With this attitude, they cannot learn anything.
And, yeah, this is my main issue. I mean, of course, like...
Get your tickets now.
Fucking YouTube's getting out of control, man.
Of course, like, they were using eggs and dairy.
But this even relates to the manual skills being used, because you're not doing anything in the most efficient way. You're not learning how the industry does it. You're not learning how to efficiently make 20 tarts. You're learning how a wealthy, bored housewife would make the tart with an unlimited budget of both time and money, while being bullied to get it done as quickly as possible. But go on,
one thing. So I'm just gonna say they used all cage-free eggs. They used like the butter from grass.
Everything's organic, dried fruit, handmade candied ingredients, and so on. I know the most expensive chocolate and so on. Right.
More worth our time, more worth our money, but you know, for us in particular, we were there for the vegan.
Right.
You know, for learning how to make vegan baked goods, which, you know, that's a whole separate thing to talk about.
Right. We already made a video discussing the extent to which we were in conflict with the management, because they promised us that the program would work well for vegans, and long story short, it did not. They found it impossible to teach us as vegans, so that was a disappointment. They promised us
You know what I think? I think they just found it impossible to work with you. Like, no offense, but I think it was probably that they just found it impossible to work with you as a student.
That would be a problem was. But you know, it seems like just fundamentally in every way, too little thought went into designing this as an education. You know, what are you teaching me to do? Are you teaching me how to run a bakery, how to start my own business, how to do my thing? You're teaching me even how to be a caterer. You're teaching me how to do these things efficiently and effectively.
So why would you go and do a course on baking if your goal is to run a business? Go and fucking to business school, man.
There's economic efficiency in terms of the ingredients, and there's also the method and so on. And again, I wouldn't mind if you were teaching me both. Like, hey, here's a nice way to make a tart at home as a hobby. And now guess what? This is the way they do it at factory scale. This is how you do it when you're making 1,000 tarts or even 100 tarts, because it's not the same. And we did reading before we enrolled in this course. That's one of the...
This is why I think this guy's never had a fucking job. So, like, I've worked, in pizza shops where you're making a pizza. I've actually worked in pizza factories. It's completely different. Why does he want to learn how to make tarts in a factory? It's like, that's a whole different thing from making tarts in a bakery. Unless you're just using the tarts in the factory, but then you'll be buying them. You don't need to know how to make them. I'll be honest, I don't know how the world works, right? But I know a little bit about how these kind of things work. Enough to say that he has absolutely no fucking idea about how the world works.
Reasons I was
no idea
really aware of this was that I didn't go into this completely. I was only book learning. I had no hands-on training. But I was reading about this stuff, and guess what? Making 1,000 loaves of bread is really much, much different from making just one loaf of bread.
Yeah, so we were there, 1 week.
Yeah, actually, the bakeries they make the big bakeries are making 1,000 loaves of bread in fucking 10 minutes or something. It's... Why would you need to know this if your goal is to have some vegan bakery?
And in that time, I got conflicting answers and theories about how to hold a knife.
Yeah, I know.
Knife skills, then that could be how they introduce it in the first week. It
really doesn't take long in any field, any job, just to work on the ground level, to have a little bit of an understanding about how the world works. You work in a shop, you get to learn a little bit how a shop works. You work in a supermarket, you get a little bit idea how a shop works. A supermarket works. You work in a bar, you get a bit of an idea. You work in a hotel or a restaurant, you get a little bit of an idea about how the bigger thing might work, and he doesn't have this idea that anyone who's watching this who's had any fucking job has, because I don't think he's ever had a job. That's what I think. No job. Never. Not one job. No job.
People learn to chop pineapple and apple into tiny pieces and, shred carrots by hand with this, with a grater, rather than using tools that they use in the industry.
I know. Even this example pisses me off still to this day.
Yeah, I got criticized for the size of my dicing.
That's right. That's right.
This is going into a muffin. It's not that big.
I mean, this is not like...
But, like, no homo. For a bald guy in a chef's shirt, he does look kind of good for his age. As far as vegans go, vegans normally look a little bit, generally, kind of a bit sickly, almost. A little bit too thin. He looks healthy. He looks good. And I'll give him respect for that, man.
A sushi chef hand slicing, salmon in front of the customer. In the real industry, if you're going to make 1,000 muffins that happen to contain, dried fruit as an ingredient or something, or in this case, they used fresh pineapple. You're not going to spend 30 minutes hand carving and dicing the pineapple and then being criticized on the size of the cubes. No, you're going to use one of many, including medieval non-electrical process. There's modern food processors, but you've used what's called a mandolin. There are a million ways to streamline this. You kidding me? And so, yeah, the actual techniques being used were a joke. It struck me also, in many contexts, they didn't really know what they were talking about as professors. And again, if these other things weren't problems, I could forgive that. But Melissa will remember, because I've been doing a lot of reading before this came up. I had some very simple questions about flour. It's kind of essential to baking.
Yes.
And they did not know the answers to those questions about flour.
You have probably done more reading on bread by reading a book or a couple of different...
Yeah, so he's gone and read some books on the ancient history of fucking flour. And he's trying to learn how to bake. And he's giving them shit because they don't know as much as what he read yesterday in a book on flour. Like I said, I've had some of these people that come to learn what I'm trying to teach them. I'm just like, okay, just forget everything you know. Learn from me. That's what it should be. Forget everything you know, learn from me, because I know more than you. Then, when you learn from me, you can... Once you've learned what I know, then you can go and learn more. I'm not the best, but I can teach you what I know, and I know more than you. But if some cunt turns up and he's read a fucking book on fucking flour, and he's trying to lecture a baker on flour questions, who knows more about baking? A bastard ciel who read a book about flour, or the actual guy who's going to teach him how to, I don't know, put it in an oven and mix it with the right amount of water or whatever. It's like, fuck, man.
Books on bread.
But that's a really embarrassing red flag where it's like, ooh, it seems like I know more about this than you do, and I'm the one asking the question. And
yeah, you know more than the guy that you paid $14,000 to teach you. Then you're the fucking arsehole, aren't you?
You're supposed to be the professor teaching me about different types of flour.
I'm sorry, this was supposed to be like a kind of funny reaction, but I just get annoyed by this. This was supposed to be a different reaction to my last reaction. More like a funny, light-hearted one. But he's pissing me off, just like he did last time. Let's see. I think my channel will just be now reacting to this video like 100 times. So let's see, maybe the third or fourth one, I'll find the humor that I found in it the first time that I watched it.
Used in bread making, by the way, it wasn't out of the blue. They were prepared. That was the lesson they were giving that day in that hour. They'd just given the presentation on the different types of wheat.
Yes.
And they did not know their stuff.
Right.
So, look, is it possible for a food training course or a culinary course to be worth $13,000 for only a few months. I think
Absolutely not if it's vocational.
that's actually an interesting hypothetical question. Like, if you really just look at the price tag and then think, what is this program going to...
Unless it's like you're already a fucking awesome baker, right? But now you're going to spend 15 weeks with like whoever's the best of the best fucking Michelin star top guy at baking, then maybe you could spend this much money. Then it would be worth it, maybe. But you'd have to have the base skills.
have to provide in terms of a credential and an education I can use the rest of my life that justifies $13,000. Maybe you can come up with something hypothetically that's worth $13,000. When I paid,
I can think of.
I believe for about $13,000, you can get the... What the fuck is it? It's just like the water rescue, like getting out of a helicopter when it turns over kind of shit, which will give you the basic qualification to go onto an oil rig, or whatever, and then you're going to make some money. Or for instance, learning, it'll be a lot less than 12,000, I think now, hopefully, to do the course to be like a digger, like on those big fucking cat diggers, Then you're gonna make way shitloads of money in the next few years, especially if you're gonna go and work somewhere in the oil industry in shitty places away from civilization. Then you'll get a massive payback on your investment.
If they give
Sure.
a very good internship afterwards, if
Right.
you have very good connections, which they did not promise, but
If you want to make money and you got a little bit to invest in yourself, you can make a lot by investing in the kind of shit which will get you into sketchy oil industry jobs, man. It's as simple as that.
had some kind of
we had some question marks about that. Yeah, right. What would actually
wavering
say that?
response on the, which you pointed out to them, and they didn't really clarify whether they would get you.
To be fair, we didn't stay in the program long enough to see how the internship.
Or construction jobs as well. Like, yeah, if I had, when I was younger, if I had like this much money to go and spend on training something, in construction, I could have, within less than a year, like 6 months, got enough training where I'm getting really good returns. I got like a sweet job, and if I gone on the oil rigs and shit, way more.
The system worked, but yeah, I there was questions on that.
No, but they didn't.
If
They
you
didn't have it
start
for the-
from the price tag and then imagine what would it need to be to justify the price tag, it's very similar when you.
I mean, this can't live in Canada, man. There's lots of fucking jobs in the oil sand fields and shit in Canada. Don't spend 14K getting some bullshit 15-week how to bake banana cake or something. Get tickets that will allow you to go and make a shitload of money in the oil sands, man.
You look at what would a $448 uniform look like.
Bago mag-film ng food content,
This ain't it. There's no hat. From the price tag and then imagine what would it
think I
need to
said
be
this in my
to
last
justify the
video.
price tag. It's very similar when you look at what would a $448 uniform look like.
It looks good.
This ain't it.
It
There's no
looks
hat, by the way.
good.
It doesn't come with a chef's hat.
No hat.
So, you know,
Chef's hat.
Almost
what
worth
would a $925
14K just
toolkit
for
look
that
like?
fucking shit and how
This ain't it.
good
Okay,
it makes
bunch
you
of
look
cheap
there.
knives ordered off Amazon, $30 a piece. That it doesn't add up to $925, not remotely, right? And the education you're getting at Northwestern Culinary Academy, it does not add up. And when I discussed this with the director of the school face to face, all he did was express his scorn for what's being offered at real professional training programs. And even from within that conversation, my impression was the exact opposite. Like, wow, well, this conversation really gives me a lot more respect for what they're doing down the road at the humble.
If you really, really had some passion for baking and shit, then you would have gone down the road and started again. It's just the kind of thing in life, like you can end up in places from luck and from knowing the right people, or your dad owns this company or something. But it doesn't matter what it is, right? If you actually really want to do it, you got to push, man, and you'll get knocked back sometimes. So he's got knocked back from this $12,000, $13,000, $14,000 thing. If you really wanted this vegan bakery, don't you think you could have made it a reality anyway? You could have gone to that school down the road, which is like 4,000 after this, you know, and done it. Like it's like he's blaming the school. Was really, if you really want to do something, you just keep fucking hitting, pushing until it happens. And you know, generally what happens in the way life is like a decade or so down the road, you actually like fucking hate this fucking job, or hate this company that I have, or hate whatever industry in. But like, to get into the industry, you have to just keep pushing, man. He got knocked back from this fucking school after like 3 weeks or whatever, and didn't go to the school down the road for 4,000 or whatever. Didn't keep going. That's because he didn't want to fucking be a baker. Because who the fuck wants to be a fucking baker? It's a shit job, man. Unless you have a passion for it.
Down to earth, not glamorous, and much cheaper community college and other, you know, professional training programs, which I think are repetitious. You know, I think you do sweep the floor and, you know, wash dishes a little bit. It costs a fraction of the amount. There are more hours. This is the other big complaint, is that the community, you spend more hours in total over a year, over 2 years doing this. So it's less efficient in some sense. But I think, you know, you actually would learn how to make banana bread. And I think you'd deal with instructors who know what they're about, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, and I mean, you haven't. I have spent more time actually looking at the
the curriculum, the recipe book, the official
what was
curriculum.
going to be taught if we had stayed in the program.
Right.
And very little time is spent on baking bread, which was a huge part of what we were interested in, and we didn't know that going into it. We weren't able to see the curriculum beforehand.
Right.
We were just, you know, going off of our interview, actually seeing the place.
Right. And the little bit of information you get from the...
How much fucking bread? Because they're so into bread and baking bread and shit. How much bread did they bake at home? Did they have a passion for baking bread? I don't think so.
Website and the pamphlets and stuff too.
Right.
That is true. I mean, that just seems to reflect the overall sense of economic unreality about the program, where it just doesn't seem to be training you for a real world career, neither in terms of management, nor economics, nor ingredients, nor just time efficiency, methods, and so on and so forth.
And yet you spent pretty much close to $14,000 each on it.
So it's kind of like, you know, a really pretentious course for housewives and hobbyists at a ludicrously inflated price. And, I mean, in the end, you know, we got our tuition 100% refunded, and we still feel ripped.
Well, amen. You got all your fucking money refunded. You got your $14,000 refunded. Maybe you get to keep your very nice shirt. Maybe you got to keep your knives. And what did you do after that? Did you go and do another course? Did you decide another avenue to become a baker, to realize this vegan baking cafe whatever dream? I don't think so.
Off. And this has destroyed more than a year of my life. And this has massively disrupted all of our career and education plans. It's impacted our lives negatively in a really real way.
Yeah.
That's all it boils down to, guys. Thumbs
Hang
down.
on, let's go back a little bit. Hang on.
Forth. So it's kind of like, a really pretentious course for housewives and hobbyists at a ludicrously inflated price. And in the end, we got our tuition 100% refunded, and we still feel ripped off. And this is destroyed.
I'm sorry to my viewers. This was supposed to be a fun, happy, kind of laughing at the whole situation thing, and it's gone a bit dark. I apologize.
More than a year of my life. And this has massively disrupted all of our career and education plans. It's impacted.
Oh, it's massively disrupted your career and... Hang on, let's go back again. What the fuck?
Our tuition 100% refunded, and we still feel ripped off. And this has destroyed more than a year of my life. And this has massively disrupted all of our...
It was like a 15-week course, and you didn't finish it. I guess you got like kicked out for being a fucking shit student. After like 2 weeks, you got all your money back, and it wrecked the whole year of your life and career. What the fuck?
Career and education plans. It's impacted our lives negatively in a really real way.
Yeah.
That's all it boils down to, guys. Thumbs down on Northwestern.
Like, can't you learn from mistakes? I don't know. Can't you learn from your mistakes, not just like blame everything on the mistakes? Fuck.
Culinary Academy of Vancouver. I hope whoever you are, when you found this video, I hope this helps you make the right decision. A place like Nanaimo may not be that glamorous or enticing. We know about a program in Hamilton, Ontario. There are other opportunities across Canada. There are opportunities in Seattle. You can do better.
Yeah, you can do better, but the thing is, like, most of the people who actually want to get into this kind of career won't have fucking the money really to spend on the course that you did anyway. Or if they did, they'd be kind of careful, you know what I mean?
Check them out.